Hello and welcome everybody to the newest ICATOR update. I'm Dr. Katherine Horton, and with me is the president of the human rights charity ICATOR, Melanie Vritschan. I think, let me just do a quick test. I think I've just lost Melanie. Oh dear. Okay. We have some technical issues, and we usually have technical issues when we're trying to bring something particularly, how to put it, very incriminating to you. And we are starting late today because Melanie was showing me some evidence that she photographed about her thighs being burned as she was trying to talk to a lawyer. And it is really, really horrific. So today we'll be talking about induced injuries that are inflicted on people with chips that are, as far as I can make out, implanted and also injected under the skin, entire chip networks. And we'll be talking about the scanning and our future plans of where we want to take the human body chips. But I'm slightly upset that as soon as we went live, Melanie was thrown from the show. It happened literally moments before we came live. So let me just use the time to check if the audio is audible.
Live.
Yes, okay, sorry. So you guys can hear me, I hope. Okay, so I'm waiting for Melanie, and in the meantime, I'll give you a brief update from my side. So I moved house and I got out of that, what I call the killing fields. And now it's actually much better. So it's a much bigger distance to houses and a much nicer environment in a very nice community. And I basically left the Nazis behind, and I can't tell you how very, very glad I am about that. Most conveniently, as I was moving house, they actually even sent the wife of one of the neighbors whom I suspected to be involved. And it wasn't quite full-blown gaslighting, but she also revealed herself, which was great. Oh, there's Melanie. Okay, so anyway, I just want to say, just to finish off the sentence. Hi, Melanie.
Hi.
Just to explain that you were thrown, just to finish off the sentence, I also advise everybody, if you have, like me, neighbors who are using weapons on you, please keep a diary and please write down absolutely everything that's strange. So flats where the lights are on all throughout the night, or if there's strange coming and goings, and people who, use flats that actually belong to other people and all that sort of stuff, and gaslighting and weird comments from neighbors. Because looking back at my old address, with time, I managed to map out the entire network. So, these are the news from me. Anyway, Melanie, I'll pass the microphone on to you because I just filled the time by informing people about my house move while you were thrown. What we actually wanted to talk about was the injuries you suffered and give people an update about the human body scans.
Yes, certainly. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you can hear me because it said here that there are some audio problems. I don't know if you can hear me. I don't know.
Yes,
Can
yes.
you hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Okay.
can hear you.
Right. So, yes, we are here to tell you the news. First of all, I would like to pay tribute to somebody, and in fact, the German ICATOR member Elke Malone has died from cancer. I've been informed about this 2 days ago, and it was said in the communication that this was most probably from the microwave attacks she was a victim of. So I would like to express my and our condolences to the family and to the friends. So yeah, this was the first not so good news I had. Yeah, so where do we stand now? We have had the scanning, the test scanning, calibration scanning about 3 weeks ago, and we are still waiting for the results. So as soon as we have them, we will of course communicate them, and hopefully they are positive, and then we can proceed to invite the members. For my personal case, it was a bit quiet around me recently because I have my own personal court case to prepare. Some people have followed what happened last year at the birth of my daughter, so I was busy with that. And regarding the injuries Catherine mentioned, indeed, I had a lawyer appointment yesterday, and I have chips in my thighs, and when I was preparing for this appointment, I started to get attacked very heavily, and my thighs started to burn, and this was started shortly before I went to my appointment, and it was continuously I was continuously attacked in the office of the lawyer whilst I was sitting there speaking about my case. And when I got back, also still the whole evening whilst I was taking care of my son. When I came home, I had really terrible burn marks, and I sent them to because I was so upset about it. So she has made a picture and she can show this to you, so you can see what I mean. I mean, if you're yourself a victim, you will probably know what I mean. But this is how my thighs looked yesterday when evening, after having been attacked the whole day.
Yes, just a second. I'm bringing them up now here in the background, and yes. So this is the images. So we cropped them. This is the oh, sorry, I haven't shared my screen. Forgive me. Here is the image of the left. Oh, sorry, your right thigh. And you can see this big burn. It's actually here. So the burned area stretches all the way back. You see red patches, but then one area that is so badly burned, it starts to blister up. Yeah.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And this is, as you explained, not the first time that this happens, but it keeps happening. And then
no, that happens regularly. Yeah.
Yeah. And then on the other side, this is harder to see because actually on the image there's a shadow on the inner thigh, but you can just about make out a really large red area here. And as I said, I mean, this image is harder, but you can see the deep red here and then a red circle. And I would say that the chips that cause the burning are located somewhere here. I mean, I can almost see vertical,
Yeah.
little no, not vertical, but little 45 angle lines there. And I would
that is correct.
This is where they are located.
It's a whole field, so there are various one next to each other.
Yeah, and I think you explained that you had some already taken out from this area to make the burning less intense.
Yeah, well, the doctors think they are lipoma, but lipoma do not cause burning. And actually, I had, whenever this happens, or often at least, I'm also going to the doctor to have these burn marks, certified. And well, last night I had a full day, pretty busy, so I was too tired to get up and do this again. But I have done it a couple of times, and I was recommended. The doctor confirmed that these were really burn marks, and he asked what I had done, and it was difficult to explain to him, but I think he got it, and he then said that I should use this gel. I don't know if you can see that. Oh, I don't know if I again interrupted. It's a gel. It's called Flaming Gel, and it is really a gel that is recommended to treat burn marks. He said it very clearly that these were burn marks. So yeah, so that's what I did last night when I came home. I used this gel, and I waited until the pain went down a little bit. But yeah, this has not been the first time. Unfortunately, I fear it will not be the last time. But it often occurs when when I'm working on my case, when I'm working on my defense, or when it happened often when we prepared the covered harassment conference to inform people about these crimes. So it is used as some kind of a reprisal measures. And especially as this happens with the inner thighs and the genital area, well, we must assume that there is also some sexual sadism component there, which plays into this. So
absolutely. Actually, the one thing I want to say is that I can also confirm as an eyewitness that when we had an ICATOR board meeting in Brussels, and I happened to be in Brussels at the time, you actually showed me the deep burning. And back then, you know, you had a lot more chips in the thighs that hadn't been taken out. So the entire area, inner thigh area, was deeply burned. And at the time, we have been together, we even stayed in your home. So we've been together throughout the entire day, and the board meeting was in the afternoon. And we were talking the entire time, and there was absolutely no way for you to burn your thighs, you know, by yourself. I mean, you would have had to use a lighter, and there just wasn't any time. So I can, you know, confirm under oath that this is exactly what happened. And your thighs were burned in our presence.
Yeah,
Pretty much while we had the ICATOR board meeting. And I want people to understand that this is the entire so-called new world order crime syndicate is setting human beings up for exactly that. The idea is that you can be remote controlled, tortured and maimed. And if they, you know, just fancy torturing you in a sexually sadistic way, or if they don't like what you're doing, which could be just trying to talk to your personal lawyer and trying to defend yourself, then your flesh will be burned from the inside. That is the what we're talking about here. And the way this is done is that bigger chips are implanted with microsurgery using laser scalpels, and the scars that are left look literally just scratches from a cat. But you can also inject these chips and these networks under the skin, and then it just spreads like a big network, and you just can't get them out again. So this is the level of crimes against humanity that Melanie is reporting here.
Yeah, so there really are crimes against humanity. These are war crimes, and it's taking really, because this is going on worldwide, it's really taking on a genocidal form. So, but this is why the information is so important, and that we, you know, the awareness raising that we're doing with these videos, and a lot of other colleagues are doing this as well, and we thank them. Another important aspect of this, or information that I would like to give, is that fortunately the movement is growing more and more. People are getting more and more interested in these subjects. Well, unfortunately, also more and more victims. But the message is starting to get through. And I think the recent attacks of these U.S. diplomats in Cuba and in China, which now seems to have been more or less proven and admitted that these were microwave attacks. The victims are certainly vindicated with this. And I myself have the good news to tell you that I've recently been contacted as the ICATOR president by Belgian intelligence services whistleblower. So this, I believe, spoke to him various times and seems really serious, and he does seem sincere, and he really wants to bring this information out, and he's somebody who can talk from the inside. So he is a former agent, and he showed me parts of his curriculum, and although he could not, of course, talk about in detail about his work, that is understandable. But he confirms the existence and the use or abuse of these microwave weapons. He confirms implants. He confirms the whole story. And he also is a specialist in this false flag terrorist attacks. So he will very soon come out and do a video about all these subjects, and we will speak very clearly about these crimes. So I'm really glad that we see that we have more and more intelligence whistleblowers that join our movement and our network, and we had the pleasure to have a few of them also as speakers at our covered harassment conference, like William Binney, like Carl Clark. Now we have this new whistleblower of the Belgian intelligence services. So this is really great news, I think, because these people that have audience, that people are listening to, that have been in the inside, that know about these weapons, that know about these non-consensual experimentation on ordinary citizens just like us. So this is very, very good news, I think. And the other good news is also that we also have more and more lawyers that are joining our cause and our movement. And we have just since 1st of October a new ICATOR member who's a Spanish lawyer, and who also joined because she said, well, I've found nowhere an association like this. I saw Dr. Horton's work, I saw your work. I think this is really commendable. I really would like to support you. And so she joined and asked me whatever I can do to help you, to support you. I would like to do that. So this not only brings credibility to our cause, to our work, what we do, but these are people that we need. So I'm making the appeal to any intelligence services whistleblower, any lawyer, doctors, scientists. We need all of you to expose these crimes and to bring them to an end. So thank you in advance.
Absolutely, and I can agree that I'm I can just thank these people who come forward, especially from the intelligence agencies. And I am very, very keen, because I think we need more intelligence whistleblowers in Europe. So in the US, they have a lot of whistleblowers. They have the Veteran Intelligence Professionals for Sanity, the VIPS group, who put out regular memos. But here in Europe, we just do not have critical mass. So we have Carl Clark, whom you mentioned, from MI6. And he came forward, but I'm still waiting to find the whistleblowers from the BND and the Verfassungsschutz, and here from the Swiss NDB. And I think it's every single person who comes forward has to be supported. And we have to put all these puzzle pieces and the information that we have together. And I also can tell you that the entire drive towards court cases is accelerating. So we really need expert testimonies. And I guess what I encourage is to write up everything that can be testified to in a kind of court-compatible fashion, with numbered paragraphs and under oath, with a written statement of truth and a written, oath, because that is universally applicable in any court case. So I think this is absolutely excellent news. And I also have got a little bit of good news to report. I keep doing outreach, and I keep talking about chips and directed energy weapons and neurotechnology to everybody I meet. And I managed to talk to one doctor, so he was informed. I also managed to talk to some other professionals, and the number of people who are approaching me and want to know more about this topic, partially because they suspect that they are being attacked, is going up rapidly. So I think every single, I also encourage the victims to put out their own YouTube videos and make their own websites, because the reach of every single YouTube video and every single website is much, much bigger than you could guess from the viewership numbers. So you can reach not just hundreds, but thousands of people in a very short amount of time. And it's really paying dividends now. So I just encourage people to come forward. I think this is all good news all around.
Yeah, and we will reach them. And there's one person I think, I have not recently seen him, but I think you have interviewed him twice or three times also, who was Andreas von Stockhausen, who was a lieutenant or in the German army, or former lieutenant. That's what I understood. And so we also need more soldiers, by the way, or more military staff that dares to expose these crimes and to talk publicly about them, because that's what they are. They are war crimes, and we should not be ashamed.
Yeah. I also would like to say that we need the military to have these weapon systems shut down, because we are dealing with, we need the police to tidy this up, and the military and the intelligence agencies. That is actually their original job. And as far as I can tell about these weapon systems, it is true that the vast majority, as far as I've experienced it and seen in victim cases, seem to be direct shots with directed energy weapons from cars and neighbors and rucksacks and handbags. But there's also directed energy shots that seem to come from the sky. These could be camouflage drones, silent drones, or satellites. So direct shots are reflected from satellites is also a possibility. And I have to say that with those weapon systems, they have to be shut down by the military. So we're talking about the absolute crucial need to actually shoot down satellites. This is an absolute ever increasingly urgent need, because these satellites have not just the capability, but also the purpose to mass exterminate the population. And the forest fires, for example, in California, that burned everything apart from the forest, but also things like the Liverpool car park fire over New Year's. Those were directed energy weapon fires. And I think there was a fire in Zurich near the train station. And the footage I have shown contained cartel signaling, implying that lasers were used. And what I mean by that is, for example, in the Liverpool car park fire, as the fire was being filmed by the media, the car park was burning in Liverpool. A massive multi-story car park was set alight. During the media footage, there you can see the dot of a green laser waving demonstratively around on the building. So this is cartel signaling for laser. And the same waving about of a laser dot was also used on the fire in Zurich, which again is cartel signaling for we've used a laser. So I really, really think that it's time that the European military regain control from this organized crime cartel that seems to have infected NATO, and literally shoot the satellites down for our own safety. You know, it's absolutely mandatory that at some point the militaries have some form of strategy for recapture from these criminal takeovers. You know, so it's absolutely, we need
Yes,
more.
and one important aspect of this was also that Dr. Ronnie Kilde always talked about, is also the mobile phone network.
Yeah, absolutely.
This can also be used for these attacks, so we should not forget that.
Actually,
All are happy to have a mobile phone and to about these mobile communications, but there is a darker side to this, and we should not forget this. And absolutely, for example, the intelligence whistleblower told me that when he started to blow the whistle, then obviously he was also subjected to measures of organized stalking and illegal entries into his home, and ransacking of his property or moving furniture around. And so he filed a complaint, and he also worked for the Belgian justice system at one point, I think. And he filed a complaint, and actually the Belgium's intelligence services could find out who were the perpetrators, who were the ones that entered his home. And I'm sorry to say, but there were a few members of the police, if I understood it right, and they could be identified because they had radios.
Yeah, well,
So,
I'm pleased that they said that, because I'm not surprised that Belgian intelligence can work out who launched the harassment campaign, because Belgian intelligence is organizing the harassment campaign. So I'm very glad they managed to do data analysis on their own data set.
well, I could find out that there were apparently a few members of the police involved in that, and the same is, for the stalkers. You can also, if the justice system would like to find out who's doing these illegal entries into the victims' homes and ransacking of the property and so on, these psychological warfare campaigns, unfortunately run on the victims very often. You can also find them out if they really wanted to by the mobile phones.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So this is something I would have liked to add. There's one last point, and I'm sorry that you're gonna say, well, why are they always asking for money? But it's just because I really would like us to be able to go on with the scanning, and unfortunately, this is not for free. So we also have to pay the university staff to do this. So, Catherine, if you could show again the ICATOR GoFundMe page and the IBAN number, because I would really like to go on and invite our members pretty soon. I'm getting more really desperate emails and requests, so it's really important that we establish the scientific evidence.
Absolutely.
So
I mean, the current status with the scientific evidence is that we're still waiting to hear back from the university, from
yeah.
the scanning that you and I did there just a few weeks ago. In the meantime, to keep us afloat, this is ICATOR.be. This is the Melanie's human rights charity. And there are two ways to donate to it. One is under Join Us. This is the most convenient for the people within the Eurozone or within Europe, because you can do a direct bank transfer. Here you have the IBAN number and just do a direct money transfer so that the entire sum arrives. For those people in the US, there's GoFundMe. And via GoFundMe, I think 5% or a bit more gets taken by GoFundMe and the payment service provider. But you can just go here and press donate now. And
it's only with your help actually that we could do the first scanning, and
absolutely.
we really need can only go on thanks to your donation. So
Yeah.
we're always glad if people support us so that we can go on with this scanning project. But
Yeah.
Catherine is right. Right now we're still working, waiting for the calibration scanning results that should arrive, I think, very soon this month. So then we will inform you further.
Yeah, exactly. And as I said, the entire idea with the work for the university, because the chip torture, in addition to the directed energy weapon assaults, are the most desperate. And the problem is that with the directed energy weapons, you can sometimes use shielding, which also sometimes has a limited effect, but you can shield. But with the chip torture, you cannot escape. That's the problem. So with the chips, the problem is that you really need to have them taken out, but you need to also measure them, get the court evidence, and sometimes doctors refuse to take it out because they know it's military technology. So we are really desperate, and I understand how desperate the situation is, because I'm being tortured with these chips as well, and so is Melanie. So my personal view is that the quickest way to stop this is really via court order. We have to blow this open in court, and we have to approach the court with good scientific evidence. And the idea is to have people measured regularly at this university. And the idea is you would travel to Brussels, be scanned at the university, and then get a report that you can use straight in court. And ideally, it would also contain the precise frequencies that your chips are emitting on. And once you know those, you can look up who licensed those frequencies. And sometimes when you look that up, you end up with a long list of perpetrators, including, or potential perpetrators or suspects, shall we say, typically including research universities, the military. But occasionally there's a frequency that is only licensed by one customer. And this could be, for example, a so-called high net worth individual, and then you know whose torture pet you actually are, who's using you for their personal monetary gain. So this is the entire point behind the work of the university. Melanie, did we have any other news today?
No, I think this is what we wanted to announce today. I hope that I will be soon back with an interview with this intelligence services whistleblowers, and then we will know more or hear more. But as always, we will also, of course, come back with an update, especially once we have the university scanning results. Then we can tell you more, and we hope that in the meantime we'll get a few donations so that we can carry on with the project.
Absolutely, absolutely. So this is the plan. Okay, so if there's nothing further, then I guess what remains is to to wish the victims all the best and know that we are working flat out to help you and try to bring. Oh, by the way, can I just very briefly? I've just remembered.
Of course, yeah. I was thinking about the Frederic Laroche case. Isn't that soon coming up?
That is coming up on the 29th of November,
Okay.
absolutely. And I'm not sure, I think I announced it before, but let me just show you two things, because the people who are interested in the scanning, the quickest way to get a very quick initial result about the scanning is to scan yourself with the bug detector. So let me just very quickly say that, because there are always new people joining our show. If you go to my website, stop007.org, you will find under equipment and detection, you'll find two very important points. I mean, here's the entire list of what I am using, what you can use to protect yourself and to gather evidence. But what is very important is number one, this electromagnetic radiation meter, because you can sometimes tell from the audio output what type of attack you're suffering from. But what is also important is this bug detector. It is not cheap, but it has found bugs before. It's 170 euros. And on this website, you have 8 videos where I show you how to use this. But also online, for example, here is Erica Meyer from Portland in Oregon. And she is showing how she is measuring. She's using the same measuring device. And you can see she went to a forest to get zero background. And you can also see how she found her chips when she was looking for chips in the neck and chips in the ears. And then also, because you mentioned Frederic Laroche, let me go back. On my website, under court cases, down here, you will find the Laroche case here in France. And Frederic published, so you can see the entire story of the court case, but he also published a video where he's measuring himself with the bug detector. He's using the green one just to show that there's zero background initially, but he also measured his mother. Okay, and he shows that his mother is also chipped at the back of the head, and it shows very clearly with the bug detector. Now, this is not surprising. I'm saying this because my experience is that entire families are chipped. Okay, they want to, first of all, put your family members under pressure, keep track of them, but they're also running various medical experiments on entire family lineages, and also very subtle neurological experiments, neurotech experiments. So sadly, having your elderly mother chipped as well is rather commonplace. Okay, and I just want to show you this video so that you can look at the evidence yourself. Now, this is one thing you need to know, the body chips, but the other thing is very important because I keep getting requests about that. If you go back to the equipment and detection, it's the eye implants, okay? The eye implants are super important and very, very cheap to measure. And you can use an ultraviolet light torch that costs you less than $20. So you can buy one for €7. And if you shine it into your eye, but please be careful, do not shine it directly into your eye because you can burn your retina. Okay, please, just at a slanted angle. But what you can see is this is an eye under visible light, and under ultraviolet light, if the pupil reflects purple, very bright, and the iris reflects purple, and for example, the pupil bright turquoise, as can be seen in this image here, then you know, I would have to blow it up, but this is what to look for, okay? So let me make it bigger. Here you can see that the pupil is actually, this is the reflection of the torch, but this is not normal. It implies that the transparent thin film, so-called thin film technology, has been placed on the eye, okay? And you will also see a bright speck here, and that is, I would assume, is actually the readout chip. I don't think this is a liquid reflecting, as for example down here in the corner of the eye. I think that's actually the readout chip reflecting here. And so I have also seen footage where an eye implant is shown, And it literally looks like a contact lens with a little oval bit at the top. And I think this is hidden under the eyelid. So when you look into your eyes in front of a mirror, you will not see the readout chip because it's a very transparent, ultra thin, and sometimes it shows up like a little discoloration, like an oval discoloration just above the iris. So these eye implants are extremely important to know about because they can be used to give you so-called hallucinations, but they are actually movies and videos and little images that are sent onto the eye implant. But as you are looking into the room, one can use sophisticated software to make the virtual image look as if it actually exists in the room. So if you have these experiences that you suddenly feel like aliens walk through the door, or you have a rattlesnake on your, dining room table, or any nonsense like that, please buy yourself an ultraviolet torch and check your eyes first. And unfortunately, the medical profession doesn't know about eye implants because they are formally classified military technology, and they typically know even less about Secret Service criminality that has placed these eye implants into the eyes of children, single mothers, and all and sundry, So this is very, very important to know. Yes, so much. And as Melanie said, the Frederic Laroche case will be heard in Grenoble on the 29th of November. So please, I think it's 1:30 in the afternoon. So please, if you can make it to Grenoble at the end of November, please keep the day free, because we need as many independent court observers as we can get. Okay, well, that's it from me. Do you have any last words, Melanie?
No, just, well, thank you for your continued support, and don't despair. We're working really, as you can see and hear, very hard on this, and I'm sure we will succeed, and we'll carry on, and the truth will prevail. That's all I have to say.
Absolutely. And we'll be reporting back next week. And I think we're trying to alternate between English and German. So I think next week we'll probably report back in German for the German viewers. But yeah, so that's it for now. So thank you for listening. And, the victims, take courage, because a lot of things are happening and they are accelerating. I can tell you that much. So, take courage and fight back, because we're going to get the bastards in court sooner or later. So anyway, goodbye, and see you next week or the week after.
See you soon. Bye-bye.